Hello, my loves, and welcome to today's video tutorial, how not to plagiarize, or how to not plagiarize, a tutorial to avoid cheating. Now, before I begin, I just want to say that nobody's in trouble. Nobody's a bad person. Some of the sixth grade teachers and I have realized that we are seeing some of this, and we wanted to make sure to tell you what is considered plagiarism and what isn't, so that we're all on the same page. So I love this comic that I found on the internet. You'll note that I noted the source there, and it says, "What do you mean all my facts are wrong? I copied everything straight off the internet," which is plagiarism. So this lesson skill is all about what plagiarism is and how to avoid it. So our learning goal, read it with me, is I can do my own work and follow school rules, not to plagiarize. So plagiarism, what is it? It is taking someone else's ideas or work and claiming it as your own, plain and simple. Why does it matter? Who cares? Why are we doing this? Well, first of all, plagiarism is like stealing an idea. When you take somebody else's idea, or even some of your own that you have done in other classes, that's like stealing, because you are taking somebody else's work and claiming it as your own. It's stealing. Also, when your teacher gives you an assignment, they want to see what you think about, summarize, and analyze information and ideas. When you plagiarize, you don't show your learning. And now, I know that sometimes it may just be like, well, who cares? This is a stupid assignment, or you don't feel like doing it, or maybe you're overwhelmed and it's easier just to take from a friend or the internet, but you don't show your learning and you don't learn anything by doing that, which is a disservice to future you. And finally, plagiarism compromises your academic integrity and your reputation, which are the honor that you have in your work and the trust between you and your teacher and the school community. So it really affects your reputation if you're caught plagiarizing somebody else's work. And you certainly wouldn't want to do that, because we all know that you're much better than that. So we're going to take some notes on plagiarism. You're going to take these notes by hand on a piece of paper, not typing, by hand. You're going to hand write some notes. You're going to pause the video when I say to pause it so you can copy stuff down. You're going to write the notes down by hand into your writer's notebook, or if you don't have your writer's notebook handy, just get a piece of paper and hand write them down. Typing them does not do the same thing for your brain, because we know that handwriting notes help us better glue that information into our brain. So we're going to handwrite. You're going to title your page Plagiarism. We're going to do 2-column notes today, so this is what yours will look like: vocabulary and definition. Mine ended up taking about a whole page. I kind of have big handwriting. So if you want to set up one page with 2 columns, you'll notice the vocabulary one is a little bit smaller, and definition. So pause the video and make your notes look like mine. This is what your note page should look like. So pause the video right here. If your note page does not yet look like mine, you'll see I've got a column for vocabulary and a column for definition. Let's get started. So, to plagiarize means to wrongfully and deliberately claim someone else's ideas or words as your own. Using it in a sentence, the teacher warned the students not to plagiarize by copying anyone else's work in their term papers. Another way to think about it is the act of presenting another one's work or ideas as your own. So whether it's somebody you know, whether it's something off the internet, whether it's something off a book, if you claim it as yours and turn it in as yours, that's plagiarizing. So let's get ready to take some notes. Plagiarize, to take someone else's ideas, writing, and work and claim it as your own. To self-plagiarize means to submit your own previous work as new work. That is a form of plagiarism, and we'll go over that in a little bit, but right now you're just going to pause the video and take those notes. So pause the video and fill in those 2 definitions and vocabulary words in your notes. If you pause the video, your notes should look like mine. We've got the definition for the vocabulary word plagiarize and the definition for the vocabulary word self-plagiarize. We got 2 down, 3 to go. Let's keep going. So intellectual property is something created by the person's mind, such as an invention, design, formula, work of art, or piece of writing, which that person has the right to protect by copyright, trademark, patent, etc. That's a lot. But here it is in a sentence. After Kara finished her novel, she made sure to copyright it because it was her intellectual property. What is intellectual property? It's the words we read, the images we see, the videos we watch, and the music we listen to. Most of it is made available to us for free, but free doesn't make it ours, okay? So intellectual property is something that somebody else creates. If you create it all on your own, that means it's like you own it. So let's take some notes. Intellectual property is our vocabulary, and the definition is the things that people create with their own minds, such as writing, race responses, answers to questions, songs, etc. That is intellectual property. Pause the video, copy that down. Pause the video, copy that down. Your notes should look like mine. 3 vocabulary words, 3 definitions. Let's keep going. You're rocking this. To paraphrase. Now, paraphrase means to restate a spoken or written passage using different words. Using it in a sentence. I couldn't remember the exact words Jordan had used during her presentation, so I had to paraphrase the information to my coworkers back in the office. Now, paraphrasing is different than plagiarizing because you're putting things into your own words. You're not copying the text. Sometimes we rearrange it to be totally different, okay? So, for example, if you were to read a book and tell me the main idea using your own words, well, that's intellectual property. But if you were to paraphrase something in the book, that means that you just put it in your own words. And that's totally allowed. And we'll go over examples of that down the line. So here's your vocabulary word, paraphrase. To put something into your own words, to restate or reword written or spoken words completely different, in using completely different words and phrasing them than the original. So copy that down. Pause the video. Copy that down. Pause it, pause the video, copy that down. Here we go. Your notes should look like mine. Last one, here we go. Source. A source is a person or thing that gives you information. Using it in a sentence, are you sure that statistic is true? What source did you use? So here are some examples of sources that we use in school. A diary, a speech, an interview, video, autobiography, photograph, artwork, newspaper, textbook, biography, encyclopedia, words written after an event. Those are sources. They're things that give you information, right? So when we cite in our race responses, we're using a source, and that source is the book. Here's your definition to write down. A source is a book, person, text, photo, document, etc. that gives information. Pause the video, copy that down. Pause the video and copy down the vocab and the definition. If you are all set, your page should look just like mine. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vocab words and 5 definitions. We're not quite done yet with notes, but we are done with our 2-column notes. Here we go. So we're going to continue our notes. I had to do mine on a separate page because I kind of ran out of room, whatever works for you. So examples of plagiarism. We're going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 examples of plagiarism. So let's get started. Plagiarism is submitting the same answers or wording as someone else. So you're going to copy that down, okay? If you turn in these same answers or the same exact wording or very similar wording as somebody else, that's plagiarizing and that's cheating. Not okay. If you're copying and pasting from the internet or another student or source, which is intellectual property, that's a form of cheating, right? I've seen this happen in almost all the subjects where it's people copy and paste from the internet and they think that we won't figure it out, but us teachers certainly will. So if you copy and paste from the internet or another student or source, which is their intellectual property, that's plagiarizing. If you make a few changes to someone else's writing or intellectual property and call it your own, that's plagiarism. If you're just maybe rearranging a couple of the words and adding different words and different phrasing just a little bit, that's still plagiarizing. If you're copying and pasting from an old assignment that you wrote or making a few or some changes to something you did before for another assignment, that's self-plagiarism, and that's cheating. So say you wrote a paper last year on earthquakes and you submit it again, that's self-plagiarism and it's cheating. We'll talk a little bit more about that down the line. If you take a quiz with your friends and discuss the answers together, that's cheating. That's plagiarism. If you have someone else, a friend, sibling, parent, adult at home, anyone besides you, do your work or make lots of edits on your work, that's plagiarism. Okay? If you have the adult at home or an older sibling proofread your work and they just add in a comma or a quotation mark or help you with your spelling, that's not plagiarism. But if somebody is doing the majority of your work for you, that's plagiarizing and that's not okay. So pause the video, copy that down. You should have all of those 6 bullet points copied down. So pause the video, copy those down, pause it, copy, good. Your notes should look just like mine. So I took these notes just like you did. So pause the video here if you have not yet copied down these notes by hand. Good to go? Awesome. Let's do some practice questions. So you have to complete a quiz or questions in a Google form. You take the quiz first and tell your friends which are the right answers. Is this allowable or is it plagiarism? It's allowable because you still did the work. It's plagiarism. It's allowable because nobody will know. What do you think? Yeah, the answer is B. It is plagiarism and it is cheating. Not okay. Do your own work. The only person you really harm if you plagiarize or don't do your own work is you. Trust me, future self will thank you. You're writing about earthquakes. You get information from the internet and change some of the words. Is this allowable or is it plagiarism? So if the internet says on October 17th, 1989, a magnitude 6.9 earthquake hit the San Francisco Bay Area, killing 67 people and causing more than $5 billion from damages. So if you get that from the internet and then you paraphrase it to this, what do you think? A 6.9 earthquake happened on October 17th, 1989, killing 67 people and costing more than $5 billion in damage. So is it allowable? Is it plagiarism? Is it not plagiarism because you still did the work to paraphrase? It's plagiarism, or it's allowable because nobody will know. What do you think? A, B, or C? The answer is B. That does not change enough information and wording from the internet source to be considered your own work. Just changing a couple of the words and a little bit of the phrasing does not mean you're paraphrasing it. It means you're plagiarizing it. You and a friend are working on an independent assignment together. Is this allowable or is it plagiarism? So if you wrote a character trait for Avon is that she is brave. She is brave because she perseveres even with her disabilities. She is also funny because she tells wild stories about her missing arms. Okay. I would agree with both of those. Your friend's writing. Avon has character traits. Avon is funny and brave. She is funny because she always tells hilarious jokes. Avon is brave because she does not let her disabilities negatively affect her life. So what do you think? Allowable or plagiarism? A, it's not plagiarism because the writing is completely different. B, it's plagiarism because the ideas are the same. Or C, it's allowable because no one will know. What do you think? The answer is A. The writing is totally different here because these people put this into their own words, into their own voice. It's different. They use different examples, and it's awesome. You have a kitchen design assignment to do for STEAM. You discuss your ideas with a friend, and you each complete your own assignment. Your project takes completely different words, phrasing, and pictures and ideas than your friends. Is it allowable or is it plagiarism? It's allowable even if your writing is very similar to your friends. It's plagiarism. It's allowable if your writing is totally different than your friends. The answer is C. So you can talk about your writing in your assignments in all the classes with your friends, but if you do it, you cannot do them together. You have to do your independent work, okay? And I know that it's easier to just do them together and get the same answers, but you're not doing yourself any favors because you, at some point, are going to still have to know this material. That's why we're teaching it to you. You have to do a report on rocks. You find information on the internet. Avoid Wikipedia because you know it's trash for schoolwork and are sure to include sources where you got the information. Is it allowable or is it plagiarism? A, it's plagiarism. B, it's not plagiarism. C, it's allowable because no one will know. Nope. It's B. It is not plagiarism. If you cite the sources and you make sure to paraphrase and if you quote directly, that's fine. But as long as you're not copying and pasting somebody else's work or making a little bit of changes, it's not plagiarism. Now it's time to put your skills to the test. You're going to take the Google Forms quiz in Classroom. I want you to take your time and use your notes and knowledge gained from watching this video. You may do corrections after. I'll post them on Friday to raise your grade. Email me if you have any questions whatsoever or just to say hi. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I love and miss you all. Raleigh Fingers says, what up?